Thank you to the roughly 40 people cross-platform who have been watching us so far tonight. Thank you to the roughly 70 people who dropped by and said hello and left a like in the stream. Please leave a like below if you haven't done so already. It's free. It helps us in the algorithm, lets people know that we're live, and then it has them come in and have fun with us. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and become a follower or a subscriber, depending on what you feel like. And then on YouTube, become a YouTube member or subscriber. Subscribing is free. Memberships are not. Or go to patreon.com/counterpoints in order to help support our various channels in streaming and YouTubing. Then, in reference to what we're going to get into right now, a few years ago, the streamer Destiny he's always been popular, or at least he's been popular for quite a long time. And he had a falling out with the other popular political streamer, Hasan Piker. Hasan Piker was not as big at the time, but this falling out was related to Destiny admitting in public that he said the N-word in private in comedic instances and thought that it was perfectly morally defensible, and that he didn't think that anybody really had the right to pry into his private life. And he had a debate with a creator named Cormentine, who has since dropped out. I think somebody mentioned that he was accused. I'm not going to say convicted, but accused of domestic violence. And then James Cole Cash, and if I'm mixing that up, I apologize, but James Cole Cash, who also disappeared after making various violent threats on the internet as well. And those were the two creators that Hasan was defending. So actually, overall, pretty funny content. That's what we watched last time. Now we're going to watch Hasan and Destiny debate the topic and see if it's funny and if we can get some debate lulls out of it.
Hello? What's going on? Is it chat shit stirring, or is it you that you actually want to talk? Because I said I was down to talk about this later today, and they were saying that you're about to leave.
Yeah, I got to do D&D tonight. Well, actually, so I'm curious firstly. Wait, so do you think it's okay to say it privately as long as you don't say publicly that you say it privately?
No, I would rather you don't say it. Like, I don't say it. And hold on.
Really?
I would rather everyone not say it. I don't say it. There are a number of different reasons for why saying the N-word and other hateful.
Oh, we are starting out so strong. I can already tell this is going to be fun.
Terminology as well is problematic.
Okay, wait. Okay, I don't need all this. Hold on. I'm just so you didn't answer the question at all.
At night
try
of
one more
day,
time.
07,
do you think it's
night.
Okay for people to say it privately if they don't admit it publicly?
No, I still don't think it's okay. But in your but in your instance, I'm saying, like, I would, if you're not going to stop saying the N-word, I would rather you just at least not.
Yeah, I'm not asking. I don't know why you're telling me what like a rather. We're not talking about like would you rather this or that. I'm just asking this one very simple question.
Wait, why don't you think that that's significant when it's like almost the entirety of this conversation? I've literally already conceded that I can't stop you from saying whatever fucking thing you want to say.
We're not talking about whether or not you can stop me.
Okay.
This is a very simple question of whether or not you think it's okay to say it privately if you don't admit it publicly. It sounds like your answer to that is no. Is that fair?
Whether it's okay.
Why is it so hard to just answer this question?
Destiny, for when I debate you, it's not just debating you, it's debating your brain trust, and it's also debating and watching fucking clips and a subreddit full of sycophants who turn around and then gaslight and change the narrative and consistently fucking clip shit out of context.
You mean like when you gaslit me last night?
This is funny. This is already funny, and I love it. So far be it from me as a now 30 viewer Andy, but typically I'm assuming there's actually like a lot of people live tonight, so seems like it's a hot night for content. So I'm not surprised we're a little bit lower than usual. But far be it from me to give Hasan advice on live streaming. However, my advice to anyone who is a small, medium, or large streamer who is having mental health issues with streaming, who is worried about brain trusts and subreddits criticizing you, don't read that shit. No offense to my audience right now, but I'm not on Reddit, and I'm not on Reddit for a reason. And even if I was on Reddit, I would be checking out subreddits for hobbies that I have, not for political spurgs who want to debate endlessly about politics, because I'm assuming that they're all autistic basement dwellers. Present company excluded. Parasocial love to you and yours. If you live in a basement, that's a reasonable place to live. but at the same time, like, why the fuck would I lose sleep over the opinions of dickheads who are shit talking me on Reddit. That's so dumb. And then same thing with a chat. I would never read another person's chat during a debate. Why the fuck would you ever do that? You're just going to get lost in your train of thought. You're going to get pissed off and you're going to start fighting the other person's chat instead of fighting the person that you're actually talking to. So my advice, as a matter of fact, I think I can give advice to Hasan as a debater. Everything I've just said, take that, put that shit in the bank, okay? Don't read subreddits, especially if it's bad for your mental health. Don't read subreddits that criticize you about your debate performances. Just take advice from people you respect. And then also don't read other people's chats during debates. That is golden ticket advice. Take it, use it.
Saying that you didn't come on and say I was belittling blacks when that was clearly the first thing you said.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you say that, because I didn't say like you're belittling black people in private as your first implication was, which is what confused me. And then we followed through on that conversation where you went back, you saw the clip.
Yeah. Will you debate Vlad the Kebabber? Sure. Whatever he wants to talk about. He wants to talk about Jews, ethno-nationalism. Wants to talk about how Kamala sucks, how Trump's amazing. Sure. Whatever.
Itself, I didn't even see it because I didn't even click on it because it was a waste of time. And then you followed through by changing your narrative. It's in my subreddit as well. Like, they clipped it out. I wouldn't have even noticed it if that wasn't the case.
I apologize.
There might have been a misunderstanding. I'm trying to be as charitable as possible. And if there was a misunderstanding on your end, then that's okay.
Okay,
But when I
I'll
say,
go back and
when
review that. But
okay, do you want to know what the biggest damage is of having these sorts of discussions, especially
Sure.
like the one that we had last night?
Mhm.
You and I have, I guess, different moral systems. I really can't describe mine. I'm not philosophically well equipped enough. Maybe I could, but I'm not gonna engage in that right now. And for me, having that conversation where you're triggering people and you're being triggered yourself, especially to random black people that most people are unfamiliar with, who don't understand the Twitch space at all, is always going to have negative consequences. Negative consequences such as them looking angry and emotional,
Okay. Can we,
and
before we
feeling
go,
like they're belittled. That was
okay,
the
we're
point.
pivoting down. Do you understand right now that you're pivoting really far away from the original question? Okay, this is like, I don't know what brain trust or whatever we're talking about. Just
DGG,
the original. Okay.
the place that you steal
I don't
memes.
care. Yeah, I understand. Okay, just very, very, very simple questions. Okay.
Okay.
So
I
the
know.
initial question was, is it okay to say it privately as long as you don't admit to it publicly? Now, it sounds like you said no. That's all I'm trying to get.
Oh, okay.
Do you really
Yeah.
feel like you can't answer that question?
No, I think it's not okay to say it privately. It certainly isn't okay to say it privately either, especially because of what happens when you do say it privately. You open yourself up, especially as a public figure, you open yourself up to a whole bunch of different scrutiny where people will feel a different kind of way about you when it inevitably gets exposed that you do say it in private.
So let's say that you say it privately, but it's never exposed. Is it okay then?
If you say it privately and it never
But
gets
it's never exposed.
I guess.
Okay. So it is okay to say it privately, or
Dude, come on, Destiny. Yes, in a hypothetical scenario in which literally you are screaming it in the fucking International Space Station and there's not a single camera there and there's no one else there and you're just screaming the N-word at inanimate objects, sure. Like, it's acceptable. Like, what are you
wait.
to,
Can I ask you a
what are
question?
you trying to draw
Can
from here? I already said that contextually.
What am I trying to draw? Is I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you believe, and it's impossible because you can't answer a single question. You just want to talk in stories all day long. I can't. I still don't know what the fuck you think. I have no idea because
Okay, well,
right now you just said.
Do you want me to go back through?
No.
my point?
I don't want you to talk a million miles an hour because you're just going on to other random things.
I will talk as slowly as I can.
It's
How
not about
that?
talking slowly. It's about pivoting to points where you feel stronger because you realize you're full of shit on this.
Dude, I can't even fucking debate to save my life. You really think I'm like masterful enough to
I'm
pivot
not trying
with
to
rhetoric,
debate.
Andy?
I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck you
Seems
believe.
like you're projecting
That's
a
all
little
we're
bit.
at.
And I can't believe you were saying that like I was fucking Britney venting you. That's kind of lame, but whatever.
I mean, you did. You hopped onto the end of a show where I'm getting dogpiled so that you can throw on some dumb fuck ad homs after you were already roasting me in your private community.
That's what I was trying to do, and not trying to.
Yes, it was. So Ericoda asks, at Counterfire, was this back when people still used laws of logic in blood sports debates, fallacies, and laws of logic? Yeah, absolutely. This was the peak of that. So that being said, I do think it's funny because I could actually sympathize with both perspectives so far. I hate Hasan. I viciously dislike Hasan. I think he's a dumb, shallow, vapid creator who I dislike viciously. However, I actually don't object to what he's said so far. Let's summarize it real quick. So Destiny is asking, can you say the N-word privately as long as you don't admit to it publicly? If you say it privately, the N-word, by the way, but it never gets exposed, doesn't matter. And so Hasan keeps kind of answering the question, but then pivoting. And then when Destiny's trying to hold his feet to the fire, Hasan actually has what I think is an okay rebuttal, but he doesn't have the balls to own it. So Hasan says, you shouldn't say the N-word in private no matter what. I personally prefer that you don't. That's one of the caveats that like Destiny doesn't give a shit about because frankly, like it's a worthless statement. Why does your preference have to do with whether or not something is a moral or immoral action? Now, everybody has different perceptions on what's moral and immoral, but at the same time, like we're trying to evaluate what we think is good, what we think is good to perpetuate in reality. And then Hasan points out, like, why are you triggering two random black people on stream? I think Destiny's argument is going to be that, well, hey, they came at me super hard, so I just gave them back the same energy. He's always had like an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth energy whenever it comes to debates. So I actually do, I don't have a problem with either perspective. I'm sympathetic because I'm an agreeable fella. I'm sympathetic to the perspective that, sometimes black people, there's like racist stereotypes about them in debate spaces. And as a result, if you are rude to them or shitty to them or an asshole to them and they start being mean back, then they're going to suffer more of a social consequence for being rude or mean than you are. Totally understand. That being said, I've yelled at black people before. Fanatic, as a prime example, has been one of the most frustrating people to have a debate with because he's simultaneously smug and incorrect and condescending, which is a wild way to fucking be in the debate space. But anyways, moving on. So Hasan does take a stance. He can't back the stance, but he does say it, where he says, no, it's immoral to say it privately because it will inevitably get exposed. Your hypothetical where you're in the International Space Station and you're just screaming it to yourself technically could be okay, but let's face it, that's not a real thing. And so this is like an appeal to realism, I would borderline say, where Destiny is trying to boil down hypotheticals to identify variables in moral thinking so you can identify what's wrong and right, which I think is like a decent way to logically like analyze propositions. However, I do think that Hasan actually has a Marcus Aurelius quote in the back of his head. I'm just kidding. He's never read Marcus Aurelius. He has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But Marcus Aurelius, one of the quotes that I took from him was the fact that when you're walking down a path and you see a rock, do not contemplate the nature of the rock. Simply step around it and continue walking. And this is Marcus Aurelius's appeal to realism, where he thinks that philosophers are so fucking up their own ass that they don't deal with reality. And so as a result, if Hasan was smart enough to appeal to Marcus Aurelius, I would actually be backing him at this point in the argument.
Fucking, smooth.
How do we pivot this again? Wait, hold on. We're not pivoting. I'm sorry. So,
okay, let's. Do you want to hear my position? Do you want to hear my position? Not that it matters to you at all. I don't think. And I think this is just,
I don't want you to talk for 10 hours.
Okay,
I just want
talk
you
for
to
a minute. I'm going to try to make this.
Here's my question: is it okay to say it privately?
Can I just tell you my point before you start asking questions?
Okay, I'm just going to re-ask this question at the end, just so you know.
Okay,
but go
it's
for
fine.
it. Okay?
It's fine. It's totally fine. Okay. I think in most instances, saying the N-word, both in private and definitely in public, is bad. Okay? Now, having said that, it could be contextually appropriate to use the N-word in a private setting. Definitely more so than it could be contextually appropriate to say the N-word in a public setting. But having said that, as a public figure, right, you acknowledge that you have certain responsibilities, or not even certain responsibilities.
Can I say, I am so happy that we live in a different time. I'm sorry for interrupting the content again. I wonder if it's on my profile for being recent, but somebody found 15-year-old or 10-year-old Mr. Beast clips where he's saying the N-word. I think with an A. I haven't listened to it myself, but he's saying the N-word, and then Chud Logic tweets under it, Ninja, who gives a fuck? I can't find it. This was a banger day for Twitter. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just happy that an Englishman in England, who, let's face it, largely lives in his apartment or whatever, but he feels comfortable tweeting the N-word on Twitter. That does actually make me pretty happy.
But you believe that within your moral framework that you don't want to say the N-word in public because other people could weaponize that and use that, or actually racist people could feel emboldened that it is okay to say. This is because of the power of the word itself and the history associated with it, and the damage associated with the utilization of the N-word, which degrades and dehumanizes black people. Now, I'm simply stating that if you are not going to stop saying the N-word in private, as a public figure who has made a determination that you shouldn't say the N-word in public, you should not admit that you say the N-word in private all the
unlimited power
time. I think this is something that you agree to as well. I'm done. That's it.
Okay. I'm going to ask again because you didn't answer the question. Is it okay to say it privately if you don't admit to it publicly? And then why or why not? Can you not answer this question?
Privately? I said in certain contexts, it could be okay.
What do you mean by certain context? Not like you're reading it out of a dictionary, but in the context of an offensive joke.
I wasn't going to do this, but like, I didn't really read the logs that got leaked or whatever, but I have seen you say the N-word on the internet before. In the context that you use the N-word when you're calling someone an R-worded, little F-worded N-word, that is not an appropriate context. Because that context makes you look like a terrible person.
That's great. So one, you just pivoted to a position that I don't defend anymore. So I said, really.
But you asked me what? No. You asked me what?
No. I asked you what context, and then you I asked you what context, and then you pointed to a specific example.
Vlad the Kebabber says, "What's this Bud guy want me to debate about? That would be an easy debate, thanks to the Democrats doing a piss poor job." Listen, I'm not going to argue that any politicians are particularly effective. So Hasan almost stumbles onto an argument. He says that just using the N-word as a slur, as a derogatory slur, is not inappropriate use. I think we can, relatively speaking, all agree with that. Probably not Vlad the Kebabber, but other people can. But I think that the positive examples that we could come up with would be things that Destiny would say, like if you're singing a hip-hop song in the car, if you're singing a hip-hop song amongst friends, if you're reciting a Dave Chappelle skit where the punchline involves the N-word or the setup involves the N-word, those would be contexts in which, as long as it's not being derogatory to people, then it would be perfectly fine in order to use it in that context. So he could come up with the positive examples, but I think Hasan doesn't want to own the positive examples, because if he comes up with the positive examples, it's going to show his audience that he's too willing and able to come up with those examples, and therefore his character will become suspect. Whereas right now he's trying to virtue signal in front of his audience that Destiny's character is suspect. That's my read on the situation.
So you're not answering the question.
No,
so
that is context. I just literally gave you context. That is an unacceptable one.
Okay, so what would be acceptable?
I think that the examples that you gave, or
oh my God,
last night, the examples that you gave,
holy shit, this is unreal. Are you guys watching this? I can't believe this right now. Why can't you just answer the question?
Did you just call to cry because I'm literally answering your question, homie?
No, you're not answering. I'm asking. You're saying, well, in the context I provide, blah, blah. I'm asking you, in what context is it acceptable? How can you not answer the question?
I am. I said the 3 examples that you gave last night, while cringy, are still relatively acceptable contexts.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. When I ask you for an argument for why it's okay or not okay to do something, I'm not asking for examples. What I'm asking for is, what is the formula that you use to determine those examples are good? Okay. So for instance, if I say, what's your example of a good person? And you go, no, I'm sorry. If I say, what makes somebody a good person? And you go, oh, I think that Z is a good person. I'm like, well, no. Well, what makes them a good person? Like, oh, well, I think like A, B, and C are good people. I'm like, no. Like, what makes someone a good person? I'm asking you, what makes it acceptable? Don't give me examples. Don't give me context. Just tell me, this is what would make an edgy joke acceptable. Like,
okay. I know not everybody is going to care about my debate with Admiral Gibbs, but this is where I felt like I made Admiral Gibbs look like a total asshole, because I asked him, what's the definition of socialism and communism? And by the way, that should be like relatively easy for anybody who's been in the Twitch and YouTube political debate space for any prolonged period of time. Socialism is a decommodification of basic human needs and workers owning the means of production. And communism is a moneyless, stateless, classless society that's advocated for largely by Marx. So the thing is, like, moneyless, stateless, classless society, never happened, never going to happen. Decommodification of basic human needs and workers owning the means of production. Those things have been attempted to varying degrees throughout time. So when Gibbs says that socialism is just when you use taxes, in the more taxes you use, they're socialist, that is a dumb and incorrect definition of socialism. And then when he uses an example and he's like, well, China, and it's like, well, people argue about whether or not China is truly communist or socialist all the time, because while they have an explicitly socialist agenda, I don't think their food is free. I don't think their housing is free. They've largely moved to a market economy. And then workers owning the means of production. The only way that you can argue that is if you think that the government owning everything is the same as the people owning everything. So in that way, like, are they socialists? Absolutely. Are they communists? Probably an ideology, yeah. Are they actually practicing that ideology? No, but you would only know those distinctions if you were actually able to articulate the virtues that make something like that. So that's where those nuances matter. Whereas bringing up a example is an incomplete capacity to process a thought. So that's what's going on here with Hasan, is he does not have the capacity to identify the variables that make one thing good and one thing bad, and why he believes those things to be good and bad. It actually is like a question of intelligence. Clockwork says, if China isn't considered communist, then the definition of communism needs to change. Clockwork, but this is a academic argument about what is communist and what China has done since the 1970s. You could argue that from 1948 to 1974, China was absolutely a socialist state that was going to be trying to become communist. But since 1974, it's economically liberalized. And now it's like an authoritarian, state capitalist. That's what Christian Valera said. I agree 100%.
Like, what is the formula that you use?
Eric Coda says China isn't communist. Laugh my ass off. Well, yeah, that's kind of what we're arguing.
What is the formula that I use that I think that an edgy joke is acceptable?
Yes.
I think like a retelling of a specific joke is acceptable. Whereas if you're using the N-word exclusively in and of itself, to dehumanize and degrade black people, or the existence that like black people are N-words, when you're using that against another person, it is an unacceptable fashion.
Okay. So
I can't believe we're still having this conversation, by the way.
I know. I can't believe how hard it is for you to answer a question. So if I quote to a friend,
no, I meant like having a conversation with a 30-year-old man who's still trying to defend the usage of the N-word, even though when pushed back on it, you say, oh, well, it was actually just defending edgy jokes. If that's your position, we can actually have a conversation around that.
That's always been my position.
So then why don't we have that conversation then?
So because you don't want to, because you constantly want to reframe it to this, because you get slam dunks with your audience full of dipshits. Yes.
No.
That's absolutely. Hold on. Do you want to bet $1,000 on this right now? We can go back last night. No. I'm asking you. We can go back last night, and I specifically said, hey, this is about edgy jokes. You're the one that reframes it specifically about the N-word. Do you want to go back and look for that? We can find those clips. Actually, we don't even have to bet money on it. We could go back and look for those specific clips.
If your position has changed from saying, I say I literally said this last night as well, and I will repeat it. If your position has changed from, I say the N-word all the time in private, and that's fine, or whatever the exact.
Dude, you're such a piece of shit.
No,
Holy
I'm
fuck.
not. I'm not. If
you are. You're taking one quote when I've written extensively about this. I've made like fucking pages of fucking posts like related to this topic, and you're going for the one quote that I used when I was like responding to somebody else trying to like fucking blame me. That is what you're using right now.
I'm asking you to clarify. I'm not trying to, dude. It is literally not a gotcha moment. Okay,
it is. It's the ultimate bad faith bullshit, dude.
No, dude. You are okay. Can you just just reset all of the fucking previous biases you have and try to look at this in a charitable fashion. I'm trying to.
Why the fuck would I do
minimize-
that when none of you have ever even like applied an
How
inch
many
of
times have I defended you? Even when you
charity
called
to
a
anything
black
I've
girl a
said?
subhuman, how many times, even in that instance, I defended you? So shut the fuck up, okay?
It's getting personal. So I just want to thank you guys. So right now, President Sunday looks like he's covering the Xander Hall drama, probably more competently than me, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with me instead. Looks like President Biden is giving a address, and it looks like anything else is also live. And it looks like an America First stream is live as well. And Vosh is live. So I just wanted to check out and see why, we're hovering around 30 where we normally are like 50 to 70. So I'm not taking it personally. I parasocially love you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you for hanging out tonight. I really genuinely appreciate it. I just wanted to let you know, I did some research and I figured it out. Sitch and Adam are also live. Okay, well, that's another thing. Well, listen, Clockwork, somebody was asking me if I was a Sitch and Adam waiting room. I probably need to be honest, but I thought that they were typically live on Tuesdays. Are they just live because they're covering the President Biden address? Is that what's going on? Yeah. Too many people are alive. Well, I appreciate you guys just hanging out in my chat anyways, but let's continue.
No, well then, dude. Okay, yeah, maybe because it was convenient for you there.
You on the internet. Shut the fuck up and
dude,
take
are you saying you take shots?
Sorry, I need to make a comment on this. So what ended up happening was Destiny got offended that Hasan was being passive aggressive, but then Hasan got offended that Destiny was being aggressive. So he can't, he's facing him down in direct confrontation, basically saying like, hey, you came onto a stream in order to take a shit on me. Now you're kind of walking it back to my position. You're pretending my position is something else, which is I say the N-word all the time in private, which let's face it, even the context of that sentence is probably hyperbole. And then Destiny's getting pissed, and then Hasan is backing him because, Hasan is getting pissed because while he can't articulate his arguments well, he could probably eat Destiny for lunch, like physically. He could just like kill him and then eat him as various steaks. Eric Oda says you're a really bad waiting room if that's the case. It's true. Never got that schedule down.
Shots at me constantly. Dude, before I talk to my podcast co-host today, you're talking to like, oh, well, if he ever says it in private, that's like dehumanizing as fuck. Don't sit here and act like you fucking stand for me super fucking hard, okay? We are nice to each other sometimes on Twitter.
No.
You take shots at me constantly on your
public position.
Every time you do it, I get a fucking clip of it. Don't pretend like you're going out of your way to fucking help me or some shit.
Okay, this is really fucking dumb. I'm muting him.
Bro.
He can go off as much as he wants. But listen, okay.
Listen all the time.
Are you gonna calm down? I'm
super calm.
Okay, you don't seem like it, buddy, but it's okay. We're gonna get there. Listen.
Okay.
So,
wait, can we just talk about the subject rather than this?
I want to. I really do.
Okay, so you said retelling of a specific joke is acceptable. So if me or another white person retells some joke that has the N-word in it, is that acceptable?
Wait, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Can you say that again?
You said that in specific contexts, it's okay to say like a racial joke. And then you said, and I quote, retelling of a specific joke is acceptable. So if I retell a joke from like the Chappelle show or the Chris Rock show and it has the N-word in it as a white person in a private setting, is that okay?
I guess it depends on the context. It depends on additional context, like
what other context?
Who's saying it? Are they a racist person? Things that you and I both agree on, but that are important, right? Like you agree on this, right? Like you said that you would have to check beforehand before you make a statement about like a racist statement around some other people, or you try to be as polite as possible and don't say it around specific people that you know will take offense to it. Like
so you agree on my position?
Trihex. Listen, I agree all the way up to this point. But
then we're done. Then we agree on everything.
But as soon as you say, I know, but as soon as you say, I say the N-word, it's one thing that's taken out of context.
That's a that's a separate. That's a separate argument, though. We're not talking about that right now.
No, Destiny, you're misunderstanding the point. Okay.
No, I'm not. You're misunderstanding. We can have this argument. I'll talk about this.
Literally undoing all of the things that you have done.
I disagree, but that's a separate argument. Listen. Okay, so I just
my argument since day one.
No, it's not. You just earlier told Trihex that if I say it, I have the clip of you saying that just because I say that privately, it's like dehumanizing the black people. So you don't agree with that.
The N-word in and of itself, in the way that I have seen you use it, that has been leaked, and that I've known to see that.
And now you're going back to like the specific one-off instead of the.
Ooh, hold on. I have seen you use it in inappropriate contexts. Can you make messed up racial jokes with the N-word and have it be appropriate? Yes, then we agree. Yes, then we agree. Okay. So I feel I don't want to say that this is slippery. I think that it's overlap. Okay. So the easiest thing that Destiny could do right now, if he was actually trying to mend his relationship with Hasan, which he's not, he's obviously not. But if he wanted to mend his relationship with Hasan, because I'm an agreeable person, I would see this out almost instantaneously. I would be like, absolutely 100% when I said it there, totally messed up. I wasn't using it as a joke. I was just using it as a derogatory statement about human beings. And I'm sure that if a black friend of mine saw it, they would view it as a insult to their entire their group of immutable characteristics. But since that time, I've tried to use jokes, more with the N-word or whatever with an A, specifically retelling to people who I know aren't racist for the sake of humor, where there's nothing mean behind it. And as a result, no skin off of my ass if we disagree on the former, but we agree on the latter. Boom. You could build the bridge right there. But Destiny's so fucking pissed that Hasan has been a passive aggressive snake first on the panel, then to Trihex, that he's not going to let it go. And he's going to take this opportunity for bridge building and he's going to nuke it. What if Elmo says it while he's in the car? True, Jonah Boy. True.
Formula. Because that's not, no, it's not a formula. That is literally why people are upset. Okay.
No, it's not. Okay.
If the only instances of you using the N-word in public were exclusively when you were like reading a Tom Sawyer quote, I don't think people would be this upset. Okay.
We're not.
But you are known to have used it in the past in that way. You have changed since then. But when you still turn around and say, I don't only say it in public, but I'm saying it in private all the time, it still sets a precedent that like you're probably fucking dropping N-words and weaponizing it against fucking other people all the time. Maybe not towards a black person, but it's still, the word itself still implies that like you can use that against another person and call them like subhuman, like a black person who is subhuman.
Okay, are you done? Because I'm dumping everything you just said. It was all a waste of time. So let's go back to this one thing again. So you're telling me that it is okay in some context in a private setting for a white person to say the N-word. Can you just say that? Because that's what you said earlier. Because if you believe that, we don't disagree on anything.
Okay, yes? It is. Yes, it is. But
okay,
again,
no, not again. No. Don't run away from that. Okay?
No, I said yes. Okay, but my opinion on this, but my opinion on this is still largely insignificant in comparison to the overwhelming amount of people of color that are going to have a different type of.
That's fine. That's okay though. You agree with my main point. Yes, you think that there are times.
But this is not a gateway to like. But Destiny, what you have to realize, like, this is being utilized as a fucking gateway to say the N-word all the time.
I disagree, but that's a separate conversation.
How? Do you not?
That's a separate. That's a separate conversation. No, that's a separate. I don't want to have that conversation. We can have it in like 2 minutes.
I want to have. I don't give a fuck about the conversation.
I do care about this because you just earlier told Trihex that it was intrinsically dehumanizing for me to ever say the N-word privately. But now you seem like you're changing your mind on that, or you never believed that, or you were just saying the shit stir between me and Trihex.
Wait, why do you think that like I'm the one who's responsible? Why don't you think that Trihex personally feels some fucking type of way about you using the N-word? Like, is it so?
Hold on, those aren't mutually exclusive. He can feel a certain type of way, and you can still reinforce that feeling by saying Destiny is dehumanizing.
I can't believe
those aren't mutually exclusive.
I can't believe that you think like I didn't even want to fucking have this conversation with Trihex after you guys had this conversation at Raj. I like literally was like, hey, I hope you're all right. Like, I hope you're doing fine.
Wow.
As my friend.
Did he hold a gun to your head and like force you to have it? Or what do you mean? Like, how did you get bullied into having that conversation that you definitely didn't want to have?
Why do you think everything is so transactional, homie? Sometimes
it's not about, wait, why are you backpedaling to wait, are you trying to just dig out like NPC insults against me? You just said you didn't want to have the conversation. Why did you have it then?
Because he's my friend and he
so then you did want to have that conversation.
Distress.
Sure. So then you were willing to have that conversation. Don't sit here and try to think, oh, I didn't want to talk about it. You clearly, if you brought it up, you were willing to talk about it.
Oh my God, dude. You are fucking awful, dude. Holy shit.
Hold on. So Hasan is the king of transaction. And I'm not saying this because I actually think this could be like an earnestly felt sentiment by Hasan, while not necessarily realizing that he is particularly transactional. He said, I didn't want to have the conversation, but I asked Trihex how he was doing. He said that he wasn't doing that great. He wanted to talk. I agreed to the talk. There are plenty of emotional conversations that I have had friends with over the years that I didn't want to have, but I knew that it was needed in order for that friend to be doing better mentally. And so as a result, I just decided to be the ear for them to bounce their ideas off of. Matter of fact, some of my best friends did that for me. And so it's like a really valued, part of human interaction is being someone who can be there for you during a time of emotional distress. Now, I think that Trihex at the time might have been feeling a certain type of way because he was kind of being told to feel a certain type of way. And I think that Hasan absolutely has always traded his relationships up for more and more and more and more and more clout. However, not wanting to have a conversation and still having that conversation anyways are not mutually exclusive propositions the way that Destiny has just argued it to be. Just want to point out that little flaw in the argumentation.
Okay, listen. I had the conversation because he wanted to have that conversation and he wanted to have it on stream, okay? But that is like we have removed far away from the original point that we were supposed to have.
Well, the original point is you think it's okay for white people to say the N-word privately.
Because the implication is that like I'm fucking, what is it? I'm secretly like going up the tracks and be like, hey, you should get really mad at Destiny because he said he says the N-word in private and then has consistently defended it as though that was the position that he originally had, even though apparently that's not the position that he originally had. He actually has a more nuanced take on it, and he thinks that it's okay to like laugh at edgy jokes or make edgy jokes every now and then. My position is edgy jokes are fine. I make them in public.
Wait, so Christian Valera says everything is spin or obfuscation with Hasan, especially when we now know Hasan set this up to shit on Destiny for his Kamala opinion. Tell me more. Please tell me more, Christian Valeras, because how does the N-word saga lead up to, like, maybe we need to watch that eventually. How does the N-word saga lead into Kamala Harris? It's a Sacco. It all connects. That's actually hilarious. I wasn't even expecting the connection. It's funny that we can make this a Kamala Harris connection.
I make them in private as well. As long as, I personally don't like the N-word. If I can't,
but you think it's okay in certain contexts privately?
You could, yes.
Okay, that's cool.
So
okay,
we agree.
That.
You're
So we can move on to the next topic,
bro. Like Tom Sawyer argument. Like,
no, I'm not at all. We can move to the next topic, though. You agree with that? That's fine. We can move to the next topic. Okay, that's whether or not admitting to it publicly it makes it all of a sudden undoes everything. Also, just so you know, your community is not going to be okay with you admitting that. Okay, I don't know if you think that's what everybody. I don't know if you think that's what everybody thinks that the argument is about.
Because maybe you and I have a different understanding of like what contextually is appropriate and what isn't contextually appropriate. Okay. That's what it is. But you are literally, both
of us agree that white people quoting funny jokes that have the N-word in them, maybe done by Chappelle or Chris Rock or something,
I think that
could be funny privately.
But I think it's cringy.
We're not asking about if it's cringy or not.
I don't use it personally. I can't.
Don't care if you use it personally. That's not the conversation topic.
I know.
You're pivoting so much.
I'm not like
you can't. Do you find it troubling that you can't just own a position? Like, just own it. Say something and own it. Stop.
This is a good point by Destiny. If Hasan was confident in his positions, he should be able to state them, why he thinks them, and then move on. But because his lack of confidence, he literally says it, and then he has to keep word salading around the position. That way, if he ever gets dragged down on something, he can word salad around it some more in order to keep the conversation flowing, instead of just being like, yes, I believe this because of this, period. The first fight between Hasan and Destiny was Kamala Harris being a cop prosecutor, and it spiraled from there with Hasan seeing an opportunity to shit on Destiny with left-wing fans over the N-word. That's funny. That's funny that Kamala was before this, and this was his opportunity to do that. That's actually pretty funny. Watcher number 12345, I remember. Am I the only one who gets a sadistic enjoyment out of seeing Hasan with his back pinned to a wall? I mean, that sounds a little homoerotic, but, whatever. When in Rome, I guess. Clockwork says, my position would be that I'm going to just stay out of the way of anyone who is offended. Don't like it. Don't say it. Want to play with fire? Go ahead. I mean, yeah, relatively speaking, I have a liberal or libertarian perspective on it. If it's indicative of an underlying position that is going to make you hostile to people over immutable characteristics, then that's probably not the kind of person that I'm going to associate with in general. But if you're just making shitty racist jokes, but you make shitty racist jokes about everybody and the jokes are funny, I don't care. That's totally fine. My wife and I make shitty racist jokes to each other all the time. That's why we get along so well. Christian Blair says, I would bet my life that Hasan was in the background trying to shit stir with Trihex and others before ever making a comment about Destiny on stream. Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, as much as I was trying to say, I think you can divorce the statement that not every relationship and every conversation has to be transactional. If you divorce that from who Hasan is as a person, then I think that the statement stands on its own. If, however, you associate it with Hasan, it's very clear from his career trajectory that he does basically leapfrog Clout up to the top. That's kind of the way that he conducted his career and relationships, as far as I can tell. And he pulls up the ladder after himself.
Running away from it like a fucking coward. I think it's cringy. I would never do it. Blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Just own it.
You're such a fucking brave and bold.
There you go. Go to the NPC talking points. White guy want to say the N-word. Dude, I'm good, right, guys? I'm cool, right, guys?
No,
dude, own a position. Have a fucking spine. Just own it.
You love calling people like crypto tankies and shit, but you are literally the Ben Shapiro for gamer words right now.
I'm not crypto anything. I am more transparent. I am more transparent with anything than any of you spineless fucks are on this platform, okay? That's why when I say something, that's why I say it, and that's it. I don't have to qualify like, well, I say it, but like, I would never say that, or I think it's cringy, or I don't think it's funny, blah, blah, blah. Like, I say it and I own it, okay? You should take a note from Bernie Sanders. He did it with the taxing the middle class. You're the Elizabeth Warren here, and I'm the Bernie Sanders in this conversation, okay? Just fucking own it. Don't run from it. Just own it. Yep, that's right. The Bernie Sanders of saying the N-word. Amen, brother.
That's an opening for humor and friendship and a joke and the ability to rebuild the bridge, but Destiny is so fucking pissed he's never going to go for it. And by the way, like I keep saying that over and over again just because it's not like I like Hasan. As mentioned previously, I really don't like Hasan. But I think one of the things that I've noticed with Destiny and his relationships is oftentimes when I'm having a disagreement with somebody, I will be looking for an agreeable position. Even if we end up like the crux of the issue is not solved, I'll still be looking for the humor or the joke or the ability to disagree or agree to disagree or conceding that the logic of their point is coherent while not agreeing with the perspective and then articulating why. I'll have a really agreeable way in order to try to have difficult conversations because I don't like hurting people's feelings just for shits and giggles. I do when they actually piss me off, but I don't do it unless it's absolutely necessary or it's very funny. So, you know, for me, I'm seeing these opportunities where they could cool off and rebuild the bridge, but, you know, I think we all ultimately know that that doesn't happen.
That's exactly where I'm at right now. Okay? Just own your position.
Instead of crying about or trying to figure out what my audience is going to say, I've already told you what my personal position is. I don't personally say it because I think it's offensive. I don't personally quote the N-word.
That's fine. If no one asked what you personally did, though, I don't know why you're bringing it up.
But if someone else is doing it in the privacy of their own conversation with another person, there are specific contexts in which you could probably say the N-word. That is my point.
That's my position, literally.
I know,
Holy shit.
But I know. I
now here's the big problem. Wait, here's the big problem. You just said that I'm undoing everything by admitting that, but you just admitted it.
So Christian Blair says, Destiny, unlike a lot of streamers, can still be friends after the worst, most mean-spirited arguments. It's Cuban culture. I agree. It's partially Irish culture as well. That's why I'm still friendly to Gibbs, even though he pisses me off endlessly. Phil KOE pisses me off as a reply guy on Twitter as well. And also even Destiny and I, we had that Hunter Biden conversation where everybody else dogpiled me. And Destiny was, I don't want to say like, he had his own perspectives that were like rude or mean or whatever, but he wasn't, to be honest, the primary antagonist. And that put a bad taste in my mouth. But ultimately it's like, what? Sorry for yawning in your ears, but what? You shit talked me because we disagree on fucking politics? Okay. And I can back everything that I believe. So I'm not saying it's correct. I'm just saying that I can walk you through the logic and information that I have used in order to come to the conclusion that I have come to. If you disagree with it, it's not an indictment of me. Oftentimes it's an indictment of the other person. Now, I respect his rhetorical gifts and his intelligence, but as an example, just as an example, okay? We fought about Hunter Biden and the Twitter files for a really long time. And since I and other people have endlessly complained about Hunter Biden, his plea bargain fell through and he has caught tax-related and gun-related felonies. So if that deal had gone through, it would have been an unfair deal and it would have been sweeping for Hunter Biden because I and the IRS whistleblowers and other people made a big stink about it. That's the only reason why Hunter Biden is receiving any level of criminal accountability for his previous actions. And to be honest, there's probably a lot more FARA violations out there that are going uninvestigated. But I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. So I would feel pretty validated in my presumption that the media and the government was sweeping for Hunter Biden. Then, when it comes to the Twitter files, how are you, liberals, progressives in chat? I know that I have a pretty diverse chat. How are you feeling about Twitter these days? Are you feeling like there's a conservative bias? Are you feeling like lefty and liberal and progressive accounts are either being throttled or not being promoted as much as they would be in a fair system that didn't have a political bias? Because if you said that to me, I would say it's probably true. So, I don't think, I'm feeling pretty validated about the Twitter files as well. So, Twitter files was my big L. Feel pretty validated in my perspective a year later. Hunter Biden was my big L. Feel pretty validated a year later. Mike from PA was laughing in my face about police reform. Basically, everything that I've ever said about police reform is coming to fruition 4 friggin' years later. And I'm trying to think of any other L's that I've taken. But the L's that I've taken, oftentimes I articulate them. And I don't want to say like I'm totally validated, but I would say that my opinion has made sense as time has evolved. And I think that I will be vindicated by the Trump or the next president will not be a divine monarch take. I think over the next decade, we will not see a divine monarch president of the United States of America. Clockwork says, Connor did a whole video about how Destiny ruins relationships and Destiny lets him on his stream. Yeah, I did, but I felt like my criticisms were fair. It wasn't like a pure indictment of his character. It was being descriptive about the streamer relationship dynamic. I've only ever seen Destiny speak highly of Connor. Jonah Boy, that is reassuring. It's reassuring. Peanut Gallery 4 says, unless there's a civil war, then it could be possible. I agree, but I don't think anybody has a stomach for that. Truth is that Americans love their air conditioning and they do not want to be outside in the heat of July using baby wipes for showers, eating MREs, shooting at each other. It's just not fun. We just don't want to do it. We would rather be grilling, eating hot dogs and hamburgers, shooting off fireworks and drinking beer. It's just not, there's not enough dissidents. There are enough dissident freaks like MAGA freaks and Christian nationalists and giga progressives and leftists and crypto communists and all that kind of stuff. There's enough freaks to upset the system, but I don't think there's enough freaks to start a civil war. Makes me sad we won't. The drip will belong to our children. I doubt it. I don't think that was some huge shot at Destiny. I made that statement in support of the idea that Destiny has thick skin. I agree. I think he will even take passive aggressive abrasions, rubs, caustic rubs against people he likes, and he'll take it on the chin largely.
What do you mean?
You just admitted to having a private public language differentiation. You said that I undid everything by admitting that. You just admitted it.
Private is still bad, though. It's literally.
Wait, so now you're changing your position?
No, because it's the fucking context. Are you insane? Like, how do you not understand that it's contextually appropriate in certain circumstances and contextually inappropriate? How is this impossible to understand? If you didn't understand this distinction, you wouldn't be trying extra hard to fucking act like it's just edgy jokes when you get called the fuck out by black
listen,
people.
I love you, buddy, okay? That was all I needed for today, thanks. We're done. It's over. What do you want me to say, dude? Holy shit. I don't know why people can't just own. This drives me so crazy. Just own a position, okay? Like, if you want to talk about fucking child porn or fucking incest or the N-word or some bullshit, then fucking I'll own it. I'll own any position. And I'll get attacked for it all the time too. But don't sit here and be like, oh, well, I think it's okay, but I would never do it. And I don't think it's blah, blah. Like, just own it.
Dude, you are such a pussy. Oh my fucking God, dude. Oh my God, dude. Oh, that is such a forced laugh. That is so pathetic, dude. Come on, Destiny. Come the fuck on, dude. Okay. I'm not doing that ever again. Like, I'm never doing that again. That was the worst thing. That was an absolute bait. I don't know why I pay attention to what Destiny does, but I really should stop.
Bro, hold on. Sorry, there's a comment that's confusing me. It only takes a few million. Wasn't the Russian Civil War one with only 3% of the population? Yeah, but I think that there's like a few 100,000 in each schizo demographic. I don't think there's a coherent 1 to 3 million. Who needs to link stuff from Connor when people like Darius and Kelly Jean exist? True. Official gamer of Twitch. Bro, you're not COUNTERPOINTS. Lol, what a dumb way to try and gain clout. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Literally, I have no idea what you're talking about. So do you think that my name, Counterpoints, that I've had for 4 years, that I've been running a successful Warhammer channel off of, Counterpoints 40K, and then kind of getting into politics on the Counterfire channel, do you think that's related? Oh, you thought that CONTRAPOINTS came up with the word counterpoints. You're a fucking moron. Got it. Okay. No problems. That's okay. Stupid people are allowed to exist too. Good luck for you. Christian Vlaris, can we have one fucking stream without a retard comment from Twitch? No. It's impossible. It's fine. All right, let's see what the finale is. I do want to watch the Surfs TV because that motherfucker is hilarious.
One thing that I have to accept, if I want to be intellectually honest, is there's a good chance that you're incorrect rather than you're correct and all of those other people are incorrect. So when I'm in an crushed him in that, that's can somebody like
if that's just him ranting, I don't really care that much. I want to check. The Surfs is fairly short, so I think I want to check the Surfs and then I want to wrap up. All right. Let's do the Surfs. Official gamer of Twitch. Why are you running your mouth and calling me names? All I know is you wouldn't be talking to me that way in person. Yeah, I would. I'm 6'4", 250 pounds. I'm a big boy. I'll talk to you that way. I'll call you dumb. If you think that CONTRAPOINTS owns the word counterpoints, I will call you dumb in person. Absolutely. 100%. I will do it. You want to fight? You want to fight, bro? Official gamer Twitch. You get your shit rocked no matter how tall you claim to be. Let's do it, chat. I'm an almost 40-year-old man getting into a fist fight with official gamer of Twitch on Twitch comments. 1v1 in real life, bro. 1v1. Hold on. I am I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna show you guys how tall I am. Just I'm gonna go stand next to the bookcase real quick. 1 second. Oh, I'm a big boy. What happened to Bastiat? He quit. Oh. He got a cool lawyer job. He decided that dealing with official gamer of Twitch was too much, and he didn't want to deal with it. Okay. Yeah, bye. Nice tits. Anyways, I'd fuck you up. Stay humble. You misspoke, you moron. You typed wrong, you idiot. Hold on. Do you cover recent stuff on Too Long Didn't Watch? Yeah, we do. We covered what did we cover? We covered something that was recent. Oh, we covered the Pierce Morgan thing. I absolutely would cover more recent stuff, but I don't think there's anything hot this week. Do you guys know anything that's really hot this week? Honestly, I thought the excuse me. Bye, gamer of Twitch, you fucking moron. Sorry, I had to ban that guy real quick. Anyways, the Netanyahu, yeah, but dude, who gives a shit? So sorry. I'm gonna be a little bit anti real politics as well. Jonah Boy says, of all the Twitch poll people to internet tough guy, why do they go after the former cop and Marine? It's weird it happens. Listen, I'm not the toughest former Marine. I'm the toughest former cop. As a matter of fact, I'm a sensitive fella. Listen, I have a lot of feelings, okay? I'm a sensitive guy. But I would say that if I was going to fight someone, I wouldn't fight me, okay? There's plenty of 5'5", male and female twinks and twinkettes. There's lots of manlets and femlets. There's plenty of people to fight who are under, again, 5'5" and under 150 pounds. I would probably fight some of those people first. You know, like, yeah, I would say the Marine Corps and law enforcement taught me to kick some ass, but largely law enforcement and the Marine Corps is about getting your fucking ass kicked and being able to do it with a smile on your face. So I would happily, get my shit rocked, quote unquote, in order to fuck somebody up. But like, that there's plenty of other targets. So I think before you start bullying me, you should probably start at like a lower tier of bullying streamers. Maybe somebody smaller. Start out lower. But let's see what the Surfs TV has to say. I want to see what his feelings are, just because he's my favorite leftist streamer.
What? You're black. The thing is, your blackness does not make you answerable here, my brother.
What?
Yeah. No, it's not your black. It's not your blackness. It's your.
Well, I mean,
social
our relevant
location.
So as a finale, Quarantine is a piece of shit who is never capable. He does his community's a dick video.
He did a manifesto.
Now, okay. We've gone through all of this conversation, okay? I know that it's been a lot, okay? But we needed it to get to this point. I'm sorry that we've gone through a lot, okay? But
that participated in.
Yeah, so watcher number 12345 says, as a former German paratrooper and EMT, I know all the ways to fuck someone up, but my signature move is to sit on them until they give up at counterpoints. Exactly. Like, a majority of my power comes from being built like a tree. Okay, I'm like an Ent from Lord of the Rings. Not the fastest, I'm not the strongest, but if you're smaller than me, I can probably take my arm and smush you into the fucking ground, and then I can sit on you and wait for my friends to show up to kick your ass. So that's like, that's my thing. Yeah. All right, sorry. Let's check out what the Surfs has to say.
And knew that this was going to be a topic, like literally agreed to it. So I don't know, like the fact that Quarantine and Cole James Cash came on and weren't able to like adequately advocate for their ideas is actually really disappointing, because I really do agree with a huge.
Quarantine was so calm.
All right,
Quarantine was so calm.
white guy. All right, white
Dude,
guy.
he's literally
fucking
advocating. Can I ask the Surfs a question? I'm super curious, because even though like you talk shit about me, whatever, I do respect you. I think you're cool. Okay, even if you fucking talk shit about me, right? Do you really think that guy like randomly interjecting? You don't have the education to talk about this. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you think that that's like a good faith way to approach a conversation.
I think a bad faith way was just a constant.
Stefan Borcelli, Destiny's alt, says the first time I started watching you was when Connor Lauren did Two Tails in the Surfs. Nice. Thanks, Steven. Everybody say hello to Steven's alt.
They tell him that he was dumb and stupid.
You know, I only did that after he was literally telling me. He was literally. So you're not going to call him out on it, but you are going to call me out on doing it after he was doing it to me.
After he was doing it to you. I was here for the whole 3 hours. Like,
you didn't hear him do that to me at all?
Over and over.
He said I was so condescending. He said I was so condescending. This type of gaslighting makes it so... Okay, so you remember the beginning...
All right. I was interested in what the Surfs have to say, but honestly, he's the shortest segment and he's pretty much wrapped up. Everybody else is just being sensitive pussies and shit. So that actually kind of wraps up our coverage for the N-word saga. So let's summarize the night before we wrap up, I guess. Let's summarize this segment, and then let's summarize the whole night. If you have questions or concerns or any comments or whatever that you want me to address, then go ahead and do @Counterfire, COUNTER, fire, common spelling, in the chat. I'll answer your questions before I leave. If you are on Twitch and you're not following, follow. If you have a sub, do a sub. If you're on YouTube and you're not, subscribe and like the stream, although we are wrapping up right now, and become a YouTube member if you want to. Patreon.com/counterpoints if you want to support us on a monthly basis. And let's check out. Yeah, look at that. I've been lifting for 2 months now, and like I'm not on steroids or anything, so not like, going to be all like veiny, but It's pretty solid. It's not too jiggly. So I've been lifting fairly consistently. But anyways, Eric Oda says, see you gonna go watch Sitch and Adam. 07, sir. Catch you in the next one. C. Marcelli says at Clockwork, one of the greatest internet debates, Connor killed with some of the jokes, and I still troll Surfs on Twitter by asking him what GPR is from time to time. Nice. All right, so let's wrap it up. So for this debate with Hasan, he admitted to some private uses of the N-word being contextually appropriate based off of the audience that you have and the people you're telling the jokes to, et cetera, et cetera. Destiny agrees with that as well. But he used some hyperbolic statements from Steven in order to call him still a closet racist and also to say that he has used the N-word inappropriately in the past. I don't think that Destiny would even necessarily disagree with that, and it's effectively virtue signaling to his audience. When Destiny says, well, your audience isn't particularly going to like this, then Hasan runs circles. So Hasan makes, I think, relatively okay points during his stuff, but he doesn't have the balls to back them. So for instance, he says, I would prefer if you don't say the N-word in private. I don't think saying the N-word in private is good. I don't say the N-word. What he's really trying to say is that it's not good all the time, even in private, even if there's not a lot of harm. He's saying, why are you triggering black people on stream? Well, let's face it, Destiny is way smarter than Cormentine and Cole James Cash. So he kind of could have been the bigger person and just like, been like, hey, I'm not racist. Go fuck yourself. I'm not engaging with you. You're a piece of shit. Let's move on. But he didn't. And frankly, we're thankful because it gave us content. It's immoral to say it in privately because it'll inevitably get exposed. There is no situation in which you say it privately in which it won't spill over into the public, particularly as a public figure. Just using the N-word as a derogatory slur is not an appropriate use, and you've used it that way in the past. 3 examples that you gave last night, like using it in a song or hip-hop reference or a joke or in a historical context, are examples that are okay. I've seen you use them in appropriate context. Those are the steelmans of Hasan's argument. Destiny says, can you say it privately as long as you don't admit it publicly? Kind of got him to say that. If you say it privately, but it never gets exposed, doesn't matter. He was trying to walk him down a logic chain. Can you make messed up racial jokes with the N-word and have it be appropriate? Hasan admitted that it could be. Yes, then we agree. And so he kind of took that dub and ran away with it, which is fine. It's fine. Still funny. It's been almost, I think it's been like 7 years since that debate. Oh, really? 4 years. October 30th, 2019. Interesting. So we're pushing 5 years, but it's been 4. That's interesting. Eric Oda says their live stream ended. No. Well, guess what, buddy? You can click on it and then you can rewind it and watch the VOD. Same way if Sitch and Adam people come over here, then we can they can watch my VOD. Clockwork says at Counterfire, I think you should poke and prod Adam until he accepts a debate about Trump. A lot of audience overlap, and you're right. Listen, man, I want to keep that door open for as long as possible, and I think I've already pissed him off a healthy chunk, so I will be polite to him. But if you want to needle him in chat and tell him to, bring me on, I'll happily do it. Is Adam going to have a debate with Pisco and Pondering? I don't think it matters given he is probably voting for Kamala now that Biden is out. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Biz D says, my high school teacher said it once while reading Huckleberry Finn or something. She was 50-year-old white lady with short hair. It was kind of hot. Biz D, are you a black gentleman and are you into race play? What is going on? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been live for 3.5 hours. I appreciate you hanging out with me. We did peak out around, 50, 60, but we dropped down to 30. I think it's because there's so many things going on. Netanyahu addressing, Biden addressing, Destiny is live, Sitch and Adam was live. So not as big. I did have fun discussing Xander Hall and Vosh and Kamala and this N-word saga with you fine folk. It was beautiful. Thank you to the donators. Thank you to the people who commented and chatted and hung out. I don't see any other ones. So I see an 07 from Clockwork. I'm going to go ahead and hold my salute. I need another few salutes before I sign out. We got UR Correct with a salute. L says, the only difference I see with Trump is I didn't have politics experience to hide his crimes like the career guys. True. I mean, I agree with that. All right. Cheers, big ears. Sabra Cadabro says. L says 07. Australopithecus 07. Stephen Burcelli says 07. Just Beyond Design says 07. Jonah Boy, Biz D, Christian Valeris, Bud123. Parasocial love to you and yours. Catch you in the next one. Have a beautiful night. Bye for now.